Second. Okay, so first of all, thank you guys for coming out. I know the roads were really bad, and so I appreciate you braving the winter weather to show up here. After class, I'm going to go outside and build a sleet man. It's like a snowman, but a lot harder and less fun. Let's see. Things to do. Every time you come to one of these things, do the attendance assignment. You guys who are not, you guys who are watching this afterwards, you need to do the attendance assignment too. It'll come back as being late, but it won't be counted as late in your grade. I'm glad to see you guys. I think it really is cool that you guys care enough about your grade and also about doing the right thing to come to this. I'm sure there are people, I've talked to people who are out of power and all crap's breaking loose, and I totally get that. And then there's also some people who are just sleeping in, right? So you guys should pat yourself on the back for that. Let's see. Oh, one thing that kind of got messed up because of the weather is registering for classes next year. So we were supposed to start that, I'm pretty sure today in your science classes, I think. If not today, soon. And what I want to tell you guys, if you have an A or a B in GoPo, or even if maybe you have a C, but you're trying to turn it around, you definitely need to take AP World next year. I teach AP World. It's more interesting than this class. You'll learn, hopefully it'll be in person, right? It prepares you for college, and the only other alternative to AP World is regular world. And the only reason you should be in regular world is if you have like a D or an F. Okay, it's the only reason you should be in regular world. So, and then also for your other classes, if there's an accelerated or an honors option, you should take that class. And you guys have probably already noticed that this year, that, you know, there's kind of a clear delineation between advanced classes. That was a violent sneeze, Cameron, and congratulations. I thought you were going to hit the camera and crack it. That would be the funniest thing. So yeah, definitely take my advice for next year. Take AP World. AP World counts for 2 college credits. A lot of people don't know that. It counts for world history before 1400 and world history after 1400. AP US history, or what we call APUSH, does the same thing. So strongly suggest that you take those classes. Let's see. Oh, so grades. So I still have some people that are taking the that are making up the Unit 4 exam that had problems. I'm going to give them to tonight, and then after tonight, if they don't have them, I'm just going to go ahead and post the grades. Grades overall were pretty good. I got no complaints. You guys that are doing the studying and that are putting the effort in, you don't have anything to worry about. You're going to do great on this AP exam. Also, good news. The AP exam has a new date, and it is later in the year. It is May 20th. now, so that's a good thing. All right, now, okay, so for these classes, so on Thursday, hopefully the blue people are in the classroom, red and My Rock Online people are at home, and so we're doing these lectures twice a week, and then we're doing the Q&As on Friday mornings. For these classes, I've decided I'm not going to put the Google slides up, the PowerPoint slides, until the end of the unit. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I want to try to keep people engaged during the lesson. And I think in AP World I had more, but I had a handful of people who literally just typed out the PowerPoint slides and turned them in for their notes. And that's just a waste of time. Now, of course, you can see the slides on the video if you need to go back, and that'll be in the recorded meets folder or link on the side of Canvas. But what I really want to start transitioning into is you guys actively taking notes during the lesson. Okay. And so what that means is really whether you take it on paper, that's cool. Or if I were you, my advice, you can do paper, but I would put the Google Meet on one side of my screen and then a Google Doc on the other side. And I know that's hard because you have like a Nintendo DS size screen on your Chromebooks, but do what you can. Yeah, I definitely think you should actively take notes. I'm going to try to like point out like really simplified things to make sure that you jot down as we go. Also, it is the middle of February. I hope you kissed your sweetheart yesterday. And so I would greatly appreciate, and it's getting that time of the year, for you guys to start jumping in with more questions, with comments, with connections. And always remember this. If you ask a question, you're not hurting the class. You're not slowing the class down or doing anything hurtful. What you're doing is helpful because you're taking an old man just yabbering on about stuff he hates, and you're making a connection with it. And we learned so much more from talking to people and having real conversations than a robot going, bah, 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 bah. Okay. And then the last thing. Most days I feel like I can get through the entire PowerPoint, but if I don't, all you have to submit notes for the next class is just where we got to in the lesson. So don't feel like you have to go further on. And I don't know, we'll see how it goes. In AP World, we've had 2 classes and I've covered 1 lesson. So that's me. Okay. So let's see if I can do this right. So taking some sort of notes, however it works out for you. I hope. Okay, I'm going to try to do this thing. Okay. Haha, it worked. Nod your head if you see a really awesome haircut. Okay, good. All right. So, the line of secession. Talked about that yesterday or Friday. It's interesting because this is one instance where they actually give a little nod to the House. right? This is one instance where the House gets to come on and sit up at the adult table, because it goes, but we're still ranking in order of importance, okay? So president, most important. Vice president, second most important. But remember, the vice president is the president of the Senate. You must know that. The vice president is the president of the Senate. And that's why your girl Kamala is so important this year, because the Senate is tied 50-50. And she's the tiebreaker. Okay. So the vice president is next in line, of course. And then it goes to the House, to the Speaker, back to the Senate, to the pro tempore means for the moment, right? Like tempo means time. So pro tempore means for the moment. So this is the backup president of the Senate. And then it goes to the cabinet. And it's in order of when the cabinet position was created. Yeah, that's that one. Like, everybody okay with that? And what is that show that it was like? I can't remember what it was called now, but it was designated. Was it Designated Survivor or something, like, where every time they get all of Congress and the cabinet and the president together, there's one member of the cabinet that they pull out and hide, just in case, like, Al Qaeda flies a nuke into the Capitol or whatever. Yeah, that's a thing. All right. Impeachment we talked about. So the impeachment is over. President Trump is the only president to be impeached twice. He is also the only president to be acquitted for impeachment twice. He's also the only president to be impeached outside of office. And so it's interesting. I also wanted to throw a little Kentucky stuff in here. Your boy Mitch McConnell, who is the minority leader, the Senate minority leader now. Let's see, Senate minority. He's the most important Republican in the country right now. He did an interview over the weekend where he said, yeah, President Trump definitely violated the Constitution. He definitely, if he were in office, he should be removed from office. But he said that it's unconstitutional to try to impeach a president out of office. So he voted against. He voted to acquit President Trump, but he also called him out, which is very interesting. And what that does is that shows you the power that Mitch McConnell has. If I were a Republican senator in Kentucky, I would not say the first little thing about President Trump. I would say, I love President Trump. He's awesome. And his hair, mwah. Like, I would just be like, I was like, because I'd be afraid about getting reelected, but I'm not Mitch McConnell, you know? Chief Justice of the SCOTUS usually is the judge, okay? But the Supreme Court, Justice Roberts said, I'm going to step back for this last Trump trial. And the 100 senators make up the jury. Hey, Dar, was it 57 senators that voted? She said, right. She said it was 7 more than half. So whatever that would be. Okay, so it was 57. So that's a little bonkers too, that means 7 Republicans voted to convict President Trump. And I think if we do a little Poe in our go here, a little politics in our government, I think a lot of Republicans are trying to get away from Trump Republicanism. And because, like it or not, like he lost the election. And so and we talked about the never Trumpers that were running the show in the beginning. All right, 4 impeachments. Our boy Trump has 2 of them. We talked about Johnson and Clinton. Nixon would have been impeachment number 2, but he got on a helicopter and left. Let me see. Don't I have a picture of that somewhere? What the heck? Okay, here are the politics. Come on now. There he is. That's Nixon getting on the helicopter in the south lawn of the White House, giving the old peace out, Girl Scout, which I think is fun. All right, here are it doesn't. So all it says, all the Constitution says is high crimes and misdemeanors. So it has to be a big deal. It really shouldn't be political, but it always is. And Congress can impeach for whatever reason they want to. Okay, the House can. And so when I first started teaching GoPo, this Muslim from Kenya named Barack Obama was the president. And he made, of course, like just like Joe Biden's making Republicans mad, and just like Donald Trump made Democrats mad, they were just freaking out, right? And so Sarah Palin, who was John McCain's vice presidential running mate, but most people would agree isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, okay? Once Obama got elected, she started running around to news outlets saying we need to impeach Obama. Okay, and there's politics about not impeaching. If you call for impeachment and most of the country thinks it shouldn't happen, it can backfire. And when Sarah Palin, of course, Sarah Palin was totally qualified to be the vice president. She was the mayor of what was the town she was mayor of? Do you remember? She was. Oh, thank you. She was the mayor of some tiny little town in Alaska. But when she went around starting to say all this, every other Republican was like, "Shut up. We're not talking impeachment." And then. So why did the Democrats impeach Donald Trump twice, knowing they're not going to get 67 senators to vote against Donald Trump? Just like everything in this class, Donald Trump is different. The story is different. And the country is so polarized for Donald Trump. I've never met someone who's like, Donald Trump, yeah, he's cool, he's all right. Or, I don't like him that much, but whatever. Like, never, right? Have you? Like, anybody, if you ask anybody about Donald Trump, they're either like, he's awesome, he's great, he's doing exactly what we need to do, or I hate him, he's an idiot. It's one of two, right? And so the Democrats were kind of banking on this idea of people that weren't that didn't think he should be president in the first place. And also, what went down at the Capitol in January really freaked a lot of people out. Really did. Okay, so that's impeachment, as opposed to in-orangement. Get it? What about in-applement? Madison had to turn her camera off so she could laugh. She'll be back here in a second. All right, so we impeached. There you are. Now, let's talk about what the president can do. Nope. It isn't. Okay, yeah, I see. I messed up anyway. Give me just a second. Thank you, though. That is very important that you guys do that. Okay. Okay. I love how I have to click literally 7 things to get the PowerPoint to show up. Okay, so let's talk about what president can do. Oh, by the way, in this PowerPoint, I have page numbers here, and that textbook, this textbook, is actually on linked on the left side of Canvas on Canvas. So it's definitely worth checking out. Boo, 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 boo. Remember, guys, in 1776, we broke up with our boyfriend, and it was a toxic relationship. Okay, we just needed to get over this guy, but we were cautious. And so Courtney made me a sugar-free peanut butter cookie because she loves me. We're going to really constrain the president because we do not want the president to become a monarch, to become a dictator. And actually, there's a pretty famous letter to George Washington being a king. Yeah, so there's a letter by this guy named Newburgh, and it was a letter sent to George Washington, who was it was in Newburgh, New York, written for the Army officers by Colonel Louis Nicola. It proposed that Washington should become king of the United States. Had Washington agreed with the letter, it could have become a turning point in American history. So Washington said, no, son, it's cool. Just get me some slave teeth to have implanted in my mouth and it'll be fine. But we constrain the president. Important GoPo theme. Prez gets more power over time. The president gets more power over time. You guys ever watch Home Improvement, that old show with Tim Allen? Okay. He would always say, more power, and then he would make like a dog sound or something. More power, more power. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. I have a knife. I'm going to use it to stir my coffee. She also made me a cappuccino. God bless that woman. All right. We're afraid of a monarch, but over time, more power. We make sure that the president cannot make real important decisions without Congress. So we have to have Congress to declare war. We have to have the Senate, and this is important, for treaties, right? Majority of the Senate. We have to have the Senate, majority of the Senate, to appoint judges. And then we have to have both houses of Congress to make laws. So now let's look at instances where these things get overtaken. Remember the War Powers Act from the Congress unit that basically says the president can start bombing anywhere, and then he has to let Congress know, and then Congress has to vote on it within 60 to 90 days. The Senate has to be involved. They have to ratify treaties, but the president can withdraw from treaties without the Senate. Appoint judges is still a Senate thing. And then make laws. Let's think about executive orders. Okay. There's, I think President Biden had like 17 executive orders in the first 2 days on the 20th, January 20th and 21st. And that's kind of a sneaky way around it. So think about this. The Senate has a term of 6 years, right? Bob over your head if you know that. 6 years for the Senate. There we go. That's called the student engagement. Good job. House is only 2 years. President is 4. If we wanted the president to have more power, we would let the president have a longer term, right? Basically, what we do is we give the president 4-year terms, because if it gets too wacky, we need a way to naturally get rid of them. They also put in impeachment. You know, impeachment is in Article 2. Remember, for the first 3 articles, we're building someone from the bottom. So legs is Article 1, right? Legislative, Article 1. And then the strong body, the executive, is Article 2. And then the head, the thinking, is Article 3. So legislative, executive, judicial. And so in Article 2, it says, hey, here's how you get rid of the president. And don't tell that to JFK. Too soon. I'm sorry, Shelby. I forget that you're JFK's granddaughter. All right. So, how does the president get more power? Every president has more power than the last one. Okay? They keep grabbing for more power. If there's a war, we start to let the president kind of, oh, golly. How do you feel about impeachment, little girl? Are you pro-impeachment? Definitely, I can tell. All right. So every time there's a war, president gets more power. Nod your head if you remember me talking about habeas corpus being suspended by Lincoln. All right. And World War One. World War One is Schenck versus U.S. And here's how you spell Schenck. I'm gonna write her. I was right. Schenck versus U.S. Schenck. That's a K at the end. Schenck. Okay. Schenck versus U.S. was really important, but I got to tell you something else that's very important. Hey, look, I drew a flower. Is it cool? Excellent. Okay, back to the boredom. Schenck versus U.S. I know I've mentioned Schenck before. Does anybody remember what it was? Anybody? I probably just mentioned it in passing. So World War One, this guy named Robert. Come on, baby, be Robert. Come on. How come it doesn't say his name? Let's just call him Gary. All right, so Gary J. Schenck thinks war is stupid. So he goes around New York handing out these little pieces of paper that say, don't sign up for the draft. Don't sign up for the draft. Freedom of speech, freedom of the press. Let's leave our boy Schenck alone, right? Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're in a time of war. And he is persuading people to not join the army. And so, Supreme Court says that by him telling people not to join the draft, he has presented a clear and present danger. Jeremiah, that was a toss-up on Saturday, wasn't it? Clear and present danger. Now, would this been a clear and present danger? Would they even made that argument if we weren't during war? No way. And so what they said was, and this is another thing you may have heard before, it's like shouting fire in a crowded theater. He's killing Americans because he's telling people not to sign up for the draft. Now, I think that's bull malarkey. I believe he had the right to do that. Okay? But it's World War One. We can take more rights away. Can you guys think of anything that went down during World War II that was definitely a violation of people's rights, but it happened because of World War II? I have already taught you this. Take guesses. Wrong guesses are better than no guesses. Thank you, Jeremiah. Turn your mic on and tell me who was in these internment camps.
Japanese people.
Japanese American people. Yeah, American citizens. Yeah. So, because we're at war with Japan, if you have Japanese heritage, you're in trouble, Buster. and we're going to put you in these concentration camps, but we're not going to call them concentration camps. We're going to call them internment camps. Do you guys remember that? Korematsu? Korematsu, that case, the Supreme Court said, yeah, you're a citizen, but we're going to keep you in a cage. It's cool, right? And so something important to know, my Schenck versus U.S. example wasn't the best because it wasn't a presidential. That was what I knew off the top of my head from World War I, because, you know, that was not an executive order. Civil War and suspending habeas corpus, that's an executive order. And Congress did not pass a law for internment camps. That was FDR. FDR, it was executive. The only reason I know this is academic thing. Executive Order 9066. And it just said, build a cage, put them in it. Korematsu says this is against the law, and the Supreme Court said, no, it's not. Okay. Also, again with the Japanese stuff, what is Mr. Brock, a weeaboo? FDR dies. New president, Harry Truman, decides, let's drop atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And Hiroshima and Nagasaki were not military bases. They were towns with schools and nursing homes. And a huge chunk of them just became evaporated. And there's still, like, the rates of cancer in those areas today are still up there. Whose call was it to drop the bomb? Harry Truman. So the way I always remember Harry Truman is they asked the question, was he a true man if he dropped those bombs? And now here's the deal. There's two sides to whether or not we should have dropped those bombs. And people are pretty passionate about both those sides. But Congress, you know, he didn't go to Congress and say, hey, we have these secret bombs that evaporate stuff. Let's, you know, let's have a town hall meeting in Livingston to see what the Livingstonians think about it. You know, no way. That was, he's running the military. Whoops. And then FDR again for the Great Depression. All right. Stock market crashes. The president comes up with this thing called the New Deal. Now, I'm not going to dive into the New Deal today because it's a big deal when we do party eras. But the New Deal was basically the government hires people to build interstates, to build schools, to build state parks. And when they do that, they're putting money back into the economy. Okay. Raise your hand if you've ever ridden in a Chevrolet or a GMC or a GM car or a Cadillac. If you've ever ridden in one of those cars. Okay. A lot of people. Okay, cool. Now, if that car was built after 2009, it wouldn't exist. There wouldn't be a Chevrolet after 2009. And the reason why is when we had the Great Recession, President Obama, and at the end of George W. Bush's term, he did it too, they start funneling money into General Motors, who owns Chevrolet and all those car companies, because they're a big industry. Like, we ship Chevrolet cars all over the world, but they were going under. There were a lot of people who had jobs, right, that worked for General Motors, and so billions of dollars did Bush and Obama put into General Motors. Had they not done that, there wouldn't be Chevrolet cars anymore. There just wouldn't be. And so, and even today, President Trump and President Biden are taking billions of dollars and putting it back into our economy so we can try to get out of this recession that's taking place from coronavirus. And so the reason I'm telling you Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden is it doesn't matter what party you are. Presidents grab power as time goes on. And when there's a crisis, it's a lot. Okay, now, welcome to the part of the course where I won't go 20 seconds for the rest of the year without saying Vietnam and Watergate. Okay? Before we get to Vietnam and Watergate, we trust our loving, sweet president. You know, FDR was president for 175 years, right? And we would keep re-electing this boy. He's good. He takes care of us, man. We love these presidents. We need a strong leader. And they keep getting more and more power. And then Vietnam and Watergate happened about the same time. Okay. Would you guys say people are more educated today than they were in the 1960s? I got no's. I got yeses. I think if you look at literacy rates and kind of standardized testing, you probably say they, I mean, as far as like knowledge, they are. A lot more people can read now than could before. How many people today do you think could find Vietnam on a map? A blank map? Right? I bet people be hitting South America. Hey guys, most people don't know that Egypt is in Africa. People are like, no, those people aren't black. They're brown, man. So we're going to war in Vietnam to try to stop communism in Vietnam because Vietnam's having a civil war, because Japan screwed them over, because France screwed them over, because China screwed them over. And here's America sending, I actually have a map of Vietnam. That's very interesting. I missed that one. It is an epic map. So people just don't know. Why are we trying to save Vietnam? And guess what? They reinstate the draft. My friend Adam, hang on just a second. Let me make sure I'm not keeping you guys too long. Crap. I've went over time. Let me tell you a story about my friend Adam, and then we'll come back and talk about Watergate on Thursday. Don't let me forget to talk about Watergate. My friend Adam's dad, when he was a senior in high school, the principal came over the PA and said, I need all senior boys to report to the gym. And they lined up all the boys who are seniors in the gym. And this Army dude came in and he walked down to the middle of the line and he pointed at this guy. He said, you and you guys go back to class. You and everybody that way, welcome to the United States Army. The bus leaves at 6 o'clock from the high school. All right. Now, can you see how that is going to lead people to be like, why is my son, why is my brother going to have to go into this war we shouldn't even be fighting? And I'll talk more about Vietnam Thursday. Remind me Vietnam and Watergate. I'll just start back up. All right. You guys are awesome because you came to class on a snow day, and I appreciate you. If I were you, write those notes up, submit them today, and don't worry about GoPo again until Thursday, okay? Hopefully snow comes on top of the ice, so when we bust our butts, the butts won't hurt that bad. And have fun making your sleet mint, okay? Okay, see you Thursday. Bye.